guys, welcome back. I'm Kelly from Kelly J Jewellery. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make these Starburst earrings. In the description below is a list of all the things you'll need, along with a link to my Facebook page, my Etsy shop, where I've got all of my PDF tutorials if anyone's interested in those. There are a few earrings on there. I recently did a giveaway as a celebration for reaching 3,000 subscribers, and I'll be doing another one when I reach 4,000 subscribers. So head on over to Facebook, and when you see the post when we reach the target, comment below on the post on Facebook and make sure you subscribe to my channel. And thanks to everybody who has subscribed so far. You guys are awesome. Thank you. To make these earrings, you'll need two little Teardrop cabochons. Mine are 9mm by 12. They don't have a hole, it's just a stone. If you haven't got Teardrop, then you can use round cabochons. I'd suggest about 10mm in diameter. You'll need 0.8mm wire, that's 20 gauge, 6 lengths at 8 inches. That's 20 centimeters. Need 0.3mm wire, that's 28 gauge, and you'll need approximately 300 centimeters. Need 2 ear wires and 2 little jump rings. Mine are 5mm outside measurements, and you need 2 3mm beads. You'll need pliers, round nose pliers, and wire cutters, and that's it. Let's get started. Today I'll be working in sterling silver. I find when you're working with sterling, it's best to have the weaving wire to be fine silver, because it weaves so much nicer than sterling silver. So take 3 of your 6 wires, and I will be making both of them with you today. So I know how difficult it can be to try and work out the opposite one in the opposite direction. We're going to start right in the centre of these wires. I'm going to wrap 3 times around the bottom wire. Making sure it's central. And I'm going to wrap about 10 times around all the 3 wires. And then 3 times around that bottom wire again. So I'm going to trim my weaving wire at both ends and then do the same again for the other 3 wires. So I've done both the same. And what I'm going to do now, take my pliers, grip in about half of the wraps. I'm going to bend a V into all of them. I'll grip it on one side and bend it a bit, and then I grip it on the other. And you want this V to be the same angle as your little stone, so it'll sit in there just right. So then we'll move to a flat surface. Get all my tools out the way. And holding it down, I gently curve the wires around the stone. My wires don't want to go around my stone. Can be a bit fiddly. And we'll do this for the other one as well. So make sure the wrap is in the middle of the wires, the centre. And take your pliers and grip half. And then I just grip the other side so it's even. Bend it a bit more. A bit fiddly to handle. So the V fits the shape of the stone. I'm going to turn it over to shape it around because it doesn't want to sit that way. Right. So then hold it all down and slowly curve the wires around the stone. We want to bend it so that oh, it's so fiddly, so that there's a gap at the top of the stone. Like that. Hope you can see that. When you're happy with the shape, bend the top wires out. So we've got this kind of shape, so it'll sit around the stone, and we've got a little gap at the top there. So then what I'm going to do is get my weaving wire, leaving a short tail. I'm going to wrap around the top there, about 5 times. Then I'm going to take the tail and I'm going to go around and through the centre there. About 3 times, just to hold the wire in place. And I'll trim that wire so it sits on the inside. Best to not let the wires cross on the sides. Keep them nice and flat next to each other, and we'll do that for the other one as well. We need to secure this wire to the furthest one at the back and just go round that one about 3 times. So before I make my other one, I'm actually going to just do a little bit more on this one, because otherwise I'm going to have to cut my weaving wire. I want to keep it attached for now, so I'm taking the back 2 wires bend these two out of the way and these two out of the way. So we've got the two back wires standing straight up like that. I'm going to go around both wires until we've got about 2 centimeters of length on there. So I've wrapped 2 centimeters of length onto there. I'm just going to finish this wire by wrapping 3 times around the bottom wire. So now we're going to fit the little stone in place. Holding it in place, turn your piece over, taking your pliers. I'm going to bend the wires over a bit first, just using my nail, just so you've got a gap there to get the pliers into. And then I'm going to bend the wire in like that. And on the other side, pull it with my nail a little bit first just to make a gap. And then grabbing it in roughly the same place, bend it in like that. Turn it over. Doing the same thing on the front. Pull it forward with the nails first. And then grabbing it right at the bottom there. Make sure my stone sits nice and low. Tends to ride up a little bit at this point, so you want to make sure it's still sitting nicely at the point at the bottom there. Bend that in slightly, and the same on this side. I'm just pushing it against the stone because it's risen a little bit. So our stone is secure, sat at the bottom there. So now if you've got bail pliers would be ideal. If you don't, you could use a knitting needle or a crochet hook or a paintbrush and just wrap the top to bend the top over. So we've got a nice little bail at the top there. I'm going to push it that way a little bit. We bend those 2 wires out a little bit. And then take the weaving wire. You should have that shape. And wrap it around the whole thing. So you just want your bail to sit nice and flush against the front, and the weaving wire should hold it there. Going around about 5 times. Secure that and then on the back I'll go around this bottom wire about 3 times. So up until this point, both of our earrings are the same. So now, going back to the other one that we started earlier, we need to do exactly this to that one. So I'll cut this weaving wire now and do exactly the same to the other earring, and then I'll meet you back here. So I've done 2 exactly the same. Now I'm just sorting my wires out, straightening them all out for the next part. If we stand them all out like that, then we won't get mixed up when we start doing opposite directions now in the next part. So we're going to take our first earring and the wire furthest over to the left, I'm going to scoop it around, and I'm going to put a tiny bead on it. Carry on going around. I wanted to come over the bead. Like that. And then on the other one, take the wire nearest the right, so I'll just push these over out the way a minute. And that one went around that way, so this one has to go around this way. Just bend that one around. And then I'll add a little bead onto that one. Then go round again. Like that. So one's going one way, one's going the other way. So next, taking the next wire in line, I'm going to add a coil to this one. I'm going to bend these two out the way for now. So coil the weaving wire round and around and around for about, I think, 2 centimetres. We'll start with 2 centimetres and we can add coils as we go. So I've actually coiled about 3 centimetres. It's easier to coil it in this position than it is when it's wrapped around the piece. So I've coiled just over 3 centimetres. I'm going to trim that bottom wire now. And slide that down into place. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to curve this one over. So we've got a little curve at the top there. And then I'm going to go around, following the other wire around the bead a little bit. And I'm going to come to the front of the bead. And then I'm going to do a little curl there, like that. So I'm going to trim my weaving wire because that was the right length that I wanted. So just over 3 centimetres is the right length for the little design that I've got planned. Just make sure the end of that sits flush. And I'm going to trim this wire. Find where I put my cutters. I'm going to cut it about there. Feel free to carry on. You know, you can do whatever you like with these wires. So I'm going to curl this now so it sits over the front of this wire. Like that. So we've got a little bit of a treble clef going on here. That was the original design, and then it goes a bit crazy from now on and you lose that. So you can stop there if you like. If you decide to stop early and do something else, try and remember to wrap a wire around the side parts and then through at the top of the stone. It'll just keep the stone down in place. You can do it with these back wires. If you finish your top wires up here, bring your back wires around and just post them through the middle right to sit top of this stone and wrap them around here, just so it holds the stone nice and low and it doesn't lift up later on. So now I'm going to do this for the other one. So I'm going to take the next wire, I'm going to bend those two over out the way. I'm going to take this next wire and coil just over 3 centimetres onto there. About 3 centimetres and 2 millimetres. So I've added my coil and I've trimmed it at the base. Slide it down into place. So this one goes over to the right. The other one went over to the left. So this one goes over to the right. Curve that around. I did curve it the wrong way just and had to go back, so my wire is being a bit stubborn now. So I'm just going to fix this and I'll be back. So we've curved over to the right, and now we go around to follow the bead under the bead wire, and over to sit in front of the bead, making sure they look the same. So now we have opposites of that little shape there we've made already. So now I can trim my weaving wire. Flatten that off a bit. And I'm going to trim this wire right there. And taking my round nose pliers, I'm going to put a curl at the front, so it sits at the front like that. So now we have opposites of each other. So when you're doing this one, curl over the one way, and then this one curls over the other way. So now going back to this original bead wire, I'm bringing the wire in a little bit so I can lean on the stone. I'm going to curve it around. A bit fiddly. Like that. And then I'm going to wrap it, take the wire around to the back, and we'll do the same with the other one. So taking the bead wire, pull it down a little bit, try and match it up so my curve sat just below the coiled part. It never does tend to go where you want it to. Oh, it's gone out of focus. Pull it a little bit tighter, and then holding it fixed firmly flat to the front, I'm going to wrap the wire around to the back. So hopefully these should match now. That's the hardest part done anyway. The rest of it's pretty simple now. It's just trying to get all those curls and swirls to all be opposites to each other. Next I'd like to lose these 2 back wires, getting in the way a bit there. So I'm just going to trim them off quite short and curl them up, tidy out of the way. Trim it about there. I'll do the same on the other side. I must apologise for mumbling in my previous videos. I tend to focus more on what I'm doing than what I'm saying, so I'm trying to be aware of when I'm focused on what I'm doing, if I decide to say something, to say it without mumbling. So I'm going to curl this up. Like that. The same for the other side. Like that, just so those wires are curled up out of the way. They won't catch on anything, so make sure that they come back in and they meet. They're not sticking out, because they'll catch on hair when you're wearing them as earrings. I've got so far. So we need to do that on the back with these 2 wires. So I've done the same to the back wires on the other one. So now I'm going to go to this short wire here that we posted around to the back. Now it needs to come across to sit flush with the top of the stone there. If you're a little bit low or a little bit high, that'll be fine, but ideally to come around to the back flush with the top of the stone there, so we can just wrap around and secure that the stone doesn't rise at any point. So I'm going to just squeeze it a little bit, make sure it's nice and wrapped around these 3 wires, and then I'm going to post it through. Oh, I'm misshaping it a little bit, I'll have to fix that. So I'll post it through to the front. Wire's a bit short, so it's a bit hard to handle. So if you've misshaped yours as I have, you're going to have to wriggle it a little bit. So my curl has completely gone off to the side there, so I'm going to try and bring him back without marking the wire too much. So we've gone around through the middle, and then I've gone around again to the back there. I'm going to cut that quite short. Using the round nose pliers. Just post it back in there. My wire, I didn't cut it short enough, it's popped back through the front, so I need to trim that again. I just want these wires to stop this stone from lifting up. It seems pretty secure, but sometimes they do tend to ride up a little bit. I'm going to do the same with the other one. So take this wire and post it through, back out the front and around again. Trying to hold that front curl in place this time. Problem with silver is it's a little bit stubborn. This would probably be a lot easier with copper. And I don't want to mark my wire too much with my tools. So I need to bring this curl back to the front. That's where I wanted it to be. Big tool mark in that bit. Oops. So I'm going to trim it short because I only want it to stop across the back there. Curve it around. Flatten it down. I think I need to curve it a bit, round a bit more than that. Yep, happy with that. So that secures that side. The end of my coil sticking out there. And it holds the stone down in place. So now to finish off these two wires, try not to let them cross over each other. I'm going to bend them down as if they're following the curve. And then when they get to the top of the stone there, because I'm going to go around again, I'm going to bend them out like that. Still try not to let them curve over each other. Hold it tight to the front, wrap them straight around to the back. So we need to do that with this one. So again, making sure they don't curve over each other. And kind of follow that curve like that. And then when they get to the top of the stone, bend them around. Still making sure they don't cross over each other. and then hold the front and bend it around to the back. So what I'm going to do now to finish these wires, I'm going to cut them very short. Oops. And then, taking my pliers, I'm going to bend them, might be around those pliers, through the gap. And then I'm just going to squeeze them a little bit to keep them in place. Don't really want to put tool marks on there. Just to secure them in place, hold the stone down, like so. You could always do that for this side, instead of wrestling it around a couple of times. So I'll do the same for the other one. Cut it very short because you don't want it to pop back out the other side, because then to trim it, it can be really fiddly. So we'll trim it very short. And with the round nose pliers, we'll just curve them around. And gently squeeze them into place. Whoops. So they just sit tight around the back there, holding the stone down. And it's all secure. All we need to do now is add the ear wires with the little jump rings, and we're done. We have a crazy one for you this week. So that's my finished earrings on their ear wires. Got a rainy day here today, so my lighting's not very good. The birds are starting to sing, so it must be stopping. Hope you found this tutorial useful and you didn't have as much trouble as I did making yours. Don't forget to subscribe. Oh, and while I'm here, thank you for subscribing, and I've reached 3,000 subscribers, and I did a giveaway on Facebook. So I think I'm at 3.5 at the minute. So when I reach 4, I'll be doing another giveaway of a pendant on Facebook. So jump on over to my Facebook page and comment on the post when you see it, and I'll draw all the names out and I'll be posting it on there when I reach 4,000 subscribers. So thanks guys, and thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.